Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
And we got a special guest today. Our guest today, as you know, is Cliff Weiner with the POA, Property Owners Association. He's the president, and he's got really strong information about the POA, about the villages. For some of you, it might be a little bit repetitive because he's going to talk about some history, but there's a lot of new things that he just told me about that you're really going to want to know. So please welcome Cliff Weiner.
First of all, thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here. The POA and your company has a long and good relationship. I've been here for 15 years, a little history of myself. I live in the village of Piedmont. I've been involved in many things in the villages. I was on the Architectural Review Board for 4.5 years. I was chairman for all 4.5 years that I was on it. I belong to the Ohio Club. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. I'm a retired electrician. I'm a guardian ad litem in Marion County. I belong to the Village Shrine Club. I'm a Mason. I do lots and lots of things, okay? I'm the kind of person who believes you can't complain unless you try and solve the problem. And that's what I try and do. So, again, thank you for asking me here. Before we start, how many of you are actually village residents? Oh, wow. How many of you are members of the POA? Well, for those of you that aren't, you're making a big mistake. Okay, the POA is the one that's going to have your back. For the last, does anybody here know when the POA was founded? 1975. We're going to be 42 years old in December. We have sued the developer 4 times. We've won twice and we've lost twice. Not bad, 50-50. We were the lawsuit that got the villages and north of 466, the $40 million law settlement, when the villages had not put any money away to repair our amenities. So we also sued the developer, I believe it was 1981, when Gary tried to take away, the people that moved into Orange Blossom Gardens originally were given free garbage, free cable, a whole bunch of free stuff, and when Gary and his dad got together, Gary decided he didn't want to do that anymore. So the POA took him to court and sued him, and on the doorsteps of the courthouse, he relented and let him have it. I think there are still about 6 people left that live in the historical side of the villages that get those free benefits. As they die, they go away, which is unfortunate. It started in 1975 as a mobile home park by Harold Schwartz, and he had a partner who wasn't here for long, and he got bought out. And Gary, for those of you that don't know, Gary was from a small town in Michigan. They ran a resort up there, and Harold talked them into coming down here, and you can see what they did. Let me preface by saying the POA is not against the developer at all. He's built the most magnificent community in the world. There's not another place like this anywhere, and there never will be. What we are against is trying to take things away from the residents, not taking care of the residents, not doing the things he promised. That's the only time we're against him. When he does something great, we're all for it. We are here to protect our residents, first and foremost. In the beginning, Gary liked the POA. And then when he got sued the first time, of course, he didn't like the POA. And that ended the relationship. What happened was he got a couple of people to form a group called the Villages Homeowners Association. At the first meeting that they had, which I believe was in 1980 or 81, he was out of town. So after the meeting, he got a copy of what happened, and he went to them and said, "You ran this meeting just like the POA meeting, so if it continues to be like that, I want nothing to do with it. You either do it the way I want it done, or we don't want to be part of it." That's where the two differences are. The VHA, which does many great things, their Helping Hands program, their golf cart safety program, are great things, but they will never do anything that's negative to the developer. because he supports them 110%. They are his organization. That's the difference. As president of the POA, I've reached out to the VHA on 5 different occasions to work together. One time was when they closed the Lifelong Learning College, which I thought was a travesty. Never heard back from them. They want nothing to do with us, and that's fine. We do our thing, they do their thing, and we're perfectly content with that. When the POA filed their lawsuit in 2008 over amenities over money that wasn't there to repair amenities, which happened to be Paradise Rec Center, which was falling down, and unfortunately was rodent infested and everything else. That's what preempted the lawsuit. That $40 million has transformed everything north of 466 into what it is. They just finished Saddlebrook, which I'm sure those of you that live here, that's an almost $3 million project. It's absolutely, I don't know if you've seen it yet, it's absolutely gorgeous. Doesn't even look like the same rec center. They've redone Paradise, they've redone Chula Vista, they've redone, they built a new Tierra del Sol. That all came out of that $40 million lawsuit money. Now, the POA, a couple of years ago, filed a lawsuit to try to get them to make an amenity authority committee south of 466, and we lost. But what we did get out of it was PWAC, project-wide, which I don't know, those of you who live here, and if you live south, probably know about it. What it's going to do is it's going to make it almost the same as the amenity authority. It's not quite the same, but you know what? It's better than not having anything and having the developer control the amenity money. At least a group of district supervisors from District 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 will control that money. So hopefully the amenities south of 466 will be taken care of. And that's basically all we really wanted. We'd have much rather had it the other way, but you win some and you lose some. What I really want to tell you guys about, because you're selling houses, is I don't know how many of you know about, and this is really important, the crackling eye issue that came up in the Villages recently. But we had a resident send us a letter to the editor complaining about, he lived in Lake Deaton and he had a crack in his lanai. So I had the editor run a little piece and say, if you have the same problem, contact us. Well, to date, we've gotten almost 1,200 responses. That's huge. The POA, I personally went out and inspected 100 of the houses. And there's definitely some kind of issue. Well, we decided that it was worth the money. We hired a structural engineer out of Tampa, Florida. I got to tell you, it was really hard to try and get an engineer because anybody around here wanted no part of it because they all deal with the developer. So we had to go all the way to Tampa. I met with the engineer on Monday and we looked at 8 houses. He's filling out a report. Hopefully I'll have it back in the next week or 2 and we'll see what's going to happen out of it. But I think it's something that you as real estate agents have to be cognizant of when you go to sell a resale, and it's what you guys are selling. There are lots of these around, okay? So far we have found no fix. We have found nothing that will fix it the first time. Every one of these people, or many, many of them, have had them fixed while they were under warranty. And they come back in 6 months. Of course, the warranty department did a really piss poor job, excuse the language, of fixing it. They didn't do it properly. There is a way to fix it. This engineering firm is working with us on that too, so we at least could come up with a method to fix it so it won't come back. It's a huge problem, much bigger than you think. Yes?
Are the cracks in the slab?
No, they're in the ceiling, drywall ceiling. Garage and lanai. In most cases, they were in the garage and lanai. There are some that are in the house, but out of the 100 that I looked at, there were only 2 or 3, and most of the responses we got were either for the garage or lanai, or both. Okay, and there's some of them were multiples. So it's really kind of it's really something you guys should be aware of. The other issue we have is, and this just happened to A gentleman bought a house in Marion County, Fortune of the Villages, and it had a Mitsubishi on the back lanai. Marion County doesn't allow you to have a Mitsubishi unless you have it enclosed with glass windows and the floor raised to the same height as the house. This wasn't. It was acrylic windows with a Mitsubishi. So obviously they didn't get a permit. Well, the gentleman moved into the house and decided he needed some other work done, remodeling work, so he needed to get a permit. He called to have Marion County come out and inspect what they did, and they saw the Mitsubishi, and they told him he was in violation. He didn't have a permit to do that. You can't do that in Marion County. What it's led to is he's now talking about suing Property of the Villages, because they're the ones that sold him the house, for not disclosing that fact, because it's going to cost them either $22,000 to bring it into code so Marion County will approve it, or $8,000 to tear it all out and redo what the damage they've done. So either way, he's got a problem. And he doesn't feel it's a just problem, and I sort of agree with him, okay? One of the things I've attempted to do, which has not worked yet, is I've gone to both Janet Tutt and Diane Tucker to try and get them to have some kind of inspection on a house before it's sold for deed compliance, which would have picked that up, because they would have said, you're not allowed to do that, blah, 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 and the new owner would not have got hammered for something that he had no knowledge of whatsoever. He moved from up north. He doesn't know what goes on here. So something that you guys should be aware of. Anytime somebody, you should let your prospective buyers know that before they actually buy a house, they should check and make sure there's no deed compliance issues that a neighbor can come back and complain about after they move in if the neighbor and them don't get along. And that's usually what happens. If you get along with your neighbor and nobody says anything, in the Villages, deed compliance is complaint driven, unfortunately, but that's the way it is. So if nobody complains, you can do anything you want and get away with it. If they complain, they make it take it out. Well, the new person doesn't know any of this. Something you might want to let your new prospective homeowners know. I think it's a really important issue. I don't know if any of you have had that issue, but it doesn't appear. I don't get a lot of calls, maybe 10 a year, but that's 10 too many, because nobody should have to do that. And that's only, it only happens once a neighbor has a fight with another neighbor, because the neighbors know something was done illegally or didn't get a permit or whatever. It's really not, it's just something I think that you guys should be aware of. Another thing is, I was talking to Glenn about the POA would like, because you guys are one of our main advertisers in our bulletin and have been with us for a long time. I would like to try and work something out. Glenn and I were talking about it, where when you sell a house, we give a free year's membership to the POA for a new homeowner. Okay, now I know that doesn't sound like much to you, but it is to us, because our problem is, if you've been here for a while, we are not invited to the newcomer social that the VHA has every year at Colony Cottage. So we're behind the 8 ball, because they get first crack at all new homeowners who get invited to that. Well, this was my idea to give us a heads up with at least Realty Executives and Remax and Foxfire and the rest of the companies that are around that have nothing to lose and everything to gain. So it's something to think about. Glenn and I talked about it. We're going to see if we can't work something out to do it. We're willing to do it. It's not the money that the POA is not interested in. Well, we are, money's money, but it's not the money, the $10 a year membership. It's the numbers. When we have an issue like the Crackle Night issue, and when it comes time for us to go to the developer, if we have 30,000 members, he's going to have trouble saying no, because that number is gigantic. Right now we have about 17,000. The whole game is a number game, so it's something that I would like you to think about. Something else the POA is going to do, we have our meetings every Tuesday, or on Tuesday nights. We had one on the third Tuesday of every month across the street at Laurel Manor, our membership meeting. We are going to change that a little bit, and we are going to run 2 meetings a month or a year at a rec center south of 466A, down in the new section, so we get some exposure down there. A lot of people from down there might not want to come here. I talked to Glenn, he was at the POA meeting, I don't know, what was it, 18 months ago maybe?
Yeah,
He did a really nice talk, and it was really good. He's agreed that when we pick a date, he's probably gonna do one of those. The other things I want to invite you guys to do as members of this organization. We have a table at the back of our membership meeting. If you'd like to come and sit and pass out literature, as long as somebody calls me and lets me know, because we only have a certain number of tables, and we have some people that are there every month, like Seniors versus Crime, I'm more than happy to have you. I'm there to help you guys promote yourself. All you got to do is let me know. There's lots of ways that we can work together to make yourself and ourself more visible in this community, and that's what we're trying to do. I know that in the last one you brought some agents with you, and I think it went over pretty good, if I remember right. Actually, it was a big crowd that night too. And we usually do get a big crowd. If you come and sit at the back table and have something you want to pass out, if you got a little gimmick or something, it really works good, okay? And we have sometimes 250, 300 members. We usually have over 200, but it's a lot of people. So it's up to you guys. I'm inviting you. All I need to know is that you're coming so that I make sure we have space and we don't do it where we overburden the situation, okay? And I will tell you this, I'm not offering this to any other real estate company that advertises in our bulletin, and we have others. So this is strictly for you guys. So it'll give you a little heads up. You guys have any questions for me? I mean, yeah.
In regards to where you were talking about Marion County
Yes.
and the no ACs, does that have the same effect if they call it not an air conditioner and they call it a dehumidifier?
No, a Mitsubishi unit is a Mitsubishi, but it's my understanding that now the rule has been changed and Marion County will accept it. Sumter County changed it and they will accept it. I think as of August 1st, Marion County will also accept it, but this was done beforehand, so it's you know, their rules change quickly, especially in the villages. And I hate to say it, but you have a competitor that'll tell them anything to get them to move into a house or to sell them a house. I've heard stories that make my hair curl. Some of them have no scruples whatsoever. I hate to say that. Yes, ma'am.
I have a house under contract. We had it inspected yesterday. It's in Amarillo.
Yeah.
And the inspector discovered a crack from the kitchen window all the way out to the garage where it stopped, and it's covered over by linoleum. And the house was built 11 years ago.
What village is it in?
In Liberty Park.
Okay.
Recourse?
Well, right now there's no recourse. I'm waiting to see. Is it in the ceiling or is it in the floor?
Floor.
There's no recourse in the floor. I'm going to tell you right now, concrete, you get a 30-30 guarantee, 30 seconds or 30 feet, whatever comes first. I was a construction all my life. Unfortunately, I've never seen any place where they pour a slab in the morning and start laying the block in the afternoon. They don't give the concrete a chance to cure. It's amazing that more floors don't crack. Up north, this would never happen. It really wouldn't. But in the floor, no.
Not to worry about it.
Yeah. Well, as long as, you know, I would be willing to bet you that every house in the village, if you ripped up the carpeting, the hardwood floor, the laminate floor, it's got cracks in the concrete.
Yeah,
I mean, that's just, I know mine does, because when I took the carpeting out and had laminate floors put in, there were cracks in the concrete. We patched them and hopefully they'll go away, as long as you don't, you know, as long as it doesn't get wider and wider and wider. Yeah, there's no guarantee about that. Yes?
You said there was like an annual subscription to your POA magazine? Like,
No, our magazine, and I brought a couple if some new people don't even know what it is. It just came out today. Today's Tuesday, the first day of delivery. We deliver it the first week of every month to every driveway
Right.
in the villages, okay? 57,000 papers we delivered, which costs us $152,000 a year for the printing and the delivery of that paper. So, to be honest with you, that bulletin gets paid for by your ad revenues and the rest of the people that add in there, and we are greatly appreciative of that.
Right.
There was a time when the POA was almost ready to go out of business because we didn't have enough money to print a bulletin, and that was in 2002. August of 2002, they didn't even print one. Other than that, lately, every month, you get a new bulletin, and there's some useful information in there. Everybody reads it. Unfortunately, not everybody's a member, and we don't care about that, but we are going to try and find ways to drive them to become members by using discount partners more, where you need to show a membership card. We have changed. We are trying to change.
So
We're
it's a
trying
cost
to
per
change.
membership.
$10 a year.
Okay.
It's not a
That's-
big deal
okay.
per household.
Right.
Okay? So it's not a big deal. We do have a 2-year membership, a 3-year membership. We're working right now so they can go online and pay by credit card by clicking a button, which we never did before. We're doing things to become more modern. It's 2017 and you got to get into the real world. People don't carry cash much anymore, so we're trying, okay? I've only been president, this is my 3rd year, so it was a whole different regime before. I have different ideas, and some of them good, I'm sure, some of them bad, but we're trying to make it where our partners in that paper and us can work to make this a better community. We help you, and you guys help us. That's what it's all about. If any of you have any ideas or want to become a discount partner where you give, I don't know what you could do as a real estate agent, but if you wanted to, we have room for discount partners, and you'd be surprised what you get out of it. I just had an ear doctor take a full page for starting next month, full page color ad, because we have space, because he feels it's worth it. So, you know, it's. Any other questions? Yeah.
Has anybody ever brought up the traffic circles, having the 2 lanes merge into one? So
Yeah.
they go around the circle in 1 lane so you can get in and out wherever you want.
Yeah, they have. The traffic circles are a nightmare, absolute nightmare. Actually, our speaker next month is Lieutenant Seamers of the Sheriff's Department, and the last time he talked, he said he doesn't even want to go in the traffic circles. Okay, there are more accidents there, but they're never going to change them. We've done that. We've tried. We've fought for the last 10 years to get them to put more signage, but the signage doesn't come from the developer, that comes from the county. Once the road's built, it becomes a county road. Now you're dealing with a whole different entity. So, no, I can only tell you this from personal experience. Travel very carefully in there. Make sure you go very slow.
So at the county level, they think that's a good idea?
The county?
Yeah.
Well, the county took it over. The developer built it.
Right.
And then they turn it over to the county, and that takes it away from them, and they have no responsibility. So
Would the county change it if they wanted to?
I guess they could, but so far we haven't been able to get them to make it a 1 lane. And I really don't know how you would even go about doing that. It would, it becomes a fighting City Hall, I guess, if they don't want to do it.
Yeah.
It's something that should be discussed. The problem we have though is also, there's another rule in the village you got to be aware of. You can't take something away in one part of the villages and not take it away in another part, because it decreases what residents have. You're in 3 counties, Marion County, Sumter County, and Lake County. Marion County will never change their roundabouts, okay? So you can't do much with Sumter County because they all have to be the same. So
Okay.
it becomes really a vicious circle. It does. Government here is like no place else in the entire world. And that was developed because who does it benefit, actually? Think about it. The developers got all the aces in the hole with that. Every single one of them. And I'm not against the developer. He was smart enough to come up and figure out a way to do that, so you got to give him credit for that. But it benefits him. It's just like the bridge going to Sumter, to Lake Sumter. He built it, and now it's falling apart, and it's gonna cost a couple $1 million to fix. But he turned it over to the county, so it's not his problem. I mean, and there's instances I can tell you about in the last 15 years that I have it over and over and over again, unfortunately. You guys gotta have more questions than that, smart group that this is. Yeah,
About all the lakes and ponds that are filling in with all the crap. You know what I'm talking about?
well, what they tell us is that, are you talking about the algae problem?
Where, what, the
weeds,
water,
grass,
the weed,
grass
the-
and
yeah,
weeds.
The grass and the weeds, which become an algae problem, and they work on it, but because of all the rain we're having, see, they always have it, there's lots of excuses for lots of things. Because when we don't have rain, it's because we don't have rain and it's dry, okay? And then when we do have rain, it's because we have too much water and they can't get in there to do anything because so it's a vicious cycle. And I've been there, like I said, 15 years. I can't tell you how many times we've gone through the same thing in the 15 years I've been here with the lakes and the ponds. I feel sorry for the people that buy houses and get charged for waterfront property that look like garbage after a short period of time. Happens over and over again, and that's one of the complaints I get many, many times in the course of a year.
There was a rumor that somebody had taken over those areas, that it really wasn't the villages anymore, that it was.
You're talking about the water?
The water, you know, like Lake Myona and different.
Well, Lake Myona never, you're talking about the park, Lake Myona
No, I'm
Park?
talking about the properties that are around Lake Myona.
The easement around?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Where?
The easement, on the other side of the fence from the houses, she's
Oh.
talking about that easement between the fence and the waterfront.
They did. Somebody, and they are trying to clean that up. You're talking about it by the Premier Homes over there.
Yes, yes.
Well, even in Lake Sumter, though.
Yeah, Lake Sumter, it seems like everywhere they're kind of
It's all-
not handling.
There
taking
is.
care of it anymore.
There is. And they give you excuses and, you know, it's, I don't know. Lake Sumter gets good, it gets bad. It's right now, it's awful.
It's terrible.
I know.
Yeah.
It's awful. It really is. Unfortunately, that all becomes part of the commercial development district, and that's owned by the developer, and he can do anything he wants. He has different rules. Actually, I just got a complaint from a guy not too long ago, historical side, developer bought a lot and wants to build a site-built house, and there's a tree that's 100 years old there, and he's gonna take it down. Great big oak tree on Deborah. You guys know where Deborah Drive is?
Yep.
He never applied for ARC approval to take the tree down because he doesn't have to. Everybody else does, but he doesn't have to. Well, I don't think that's right. And Lake County gave him permission, or Lady Lake gave him permission to take it down because I called and I talked to him. Those are things you can't fight. At City Hall, you just turn your cheek and laugh a little bit, and he gets away with those kind of things, unfortunately. I feel sorry for all the people that live around there that like it because, and they signed a petition and everything. They don't want the tree to come down. They want him to build the house and leave the tree up, and he's saying you can't, and the tree's got to come down. So, you know who's going to win. I don't have to tell you. He's going to take the tree down. Yeah.
I was reading about people complaining about the doctors and stuff around here. Is there a way that they could, like, team up with, say, University of Florida and set aside some area for, like, a small, like a building this size, like a teaching thing, so that better doctors from University of Florida could come down to the villages?
Well, University of Florida was here and left once.
Oh, they did?
Oh, yeah. They were here, they left, because actually, and nobody will ever know the real reason why they left, but the reason is probably they couldn't put up with the bullshit that they had to take from the people they were dealing with, to tell you the truth. And I gotta tell you, the POA is hammered on the hospital for their emergency room over the years relentlessly. They got a new person in charge, Michael Pittman. I don't know if any of you have had any dealings with them. We had them at our January meeting talking about how they were going to improve the emergency room. I went and had 3 meetings with them to see what he was going to talk about. I spent a lot of time with them. And I got to tell you that in the last 3 months, the hospital's gone right back down to where it was. It's absolutely atrocious. I get more complaints about people waiting 8 and 10 hours in the emergency room than anything I can say. He's actually coming back to speak in either at the end of the year or the beginning of the year, and he was going to bring us a status report. I feel sorry for them because the people are gonna just hammer them, they really are. And I wouldn't let that happen the first time because that was the first time that the hospital had ever agreed to come and make a talk to any group because they just didn't do it. So I was kind of glad that he was. But they gotta do something because I know, I personally won't go to that hospital. I'd rather go somewhere else, to be honest.
Cliff, the cracking in the ceiling and the lanais, is this predominantly we're talking about new construction, we're talking about last year and a half?
We mostly looked at new, but I've got it all the way into Marion County. I've got it in Delmar, in old sections, but it's more prevalent in the new sections from Liberty Park south, okay? And south of 466A in Gilchrist, Dunedin, in all the new areas, unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. And part of that's probably because they're building the houses so fast, they don't do it right. A lot of it is not done properly. That's one of the things, just so you know, the structural engineer, and we're paying him a lot of money. He was going to research to find out if he could find some things that they are not supposed to be doing, because the way building codes work all over the world, or the United States anyways, because I used to be a electrical inspector, state electrical inspector in Ohio. National code is there, and then you have local codes. Whichever one is stronger supersedes the other one. So if your national code is stronger than your local code, that's what you got to go by. If your local code is stronger than the national code, which gives the homeowner the benefit of having to have the most stringent building rules that there are. That's what he was checking, okay? That's the big part of this. I tried to do it before we hired this guy, and it's just way too mind-boggling. There's just way too much stuff to go through. It wasn't worth it for me to spend my time trying to do that. But I will let you guys know when I get an answer. I will either call you or send you an email so you'll know, and you can let your people know, because it is important. It's an important issue. We might be able to do something. If we get the right results back, we will file a class action lawsuit.
I have a question. I might sound silly. I came from Broward County, and the doors on a home had to open out for hurricane. And I noticed here, they open out and they open in.
Correct.
Isn't there a law? I mean, the hurricane standards should have been throughout the state, right?
No, each county can have their own set of rules. And I will tell you that Broward County and Dade County are much stricter than anywhere else because of Hurricane Andrew.
Right.
Okay? And that changed everything down there. They really made things strong.
Yeah.
I hope we don't have a disaster, but sometimes that's what it takes to get things actually changed, okay? And that's too bad. It really is. But you're right. And that's just the way it is. Yes.
Have you had anybody mention, I noticed in a lot of the homes that we have, even homes that are 2 and 3 years old, the carpets get so wrinkled, it's like they were never stretched or put in right, or the concrete was too damp and something's going on. But we've got new homes that are only maybe a year old and the carpets are horrible with big bumps in them and stuff.
No, nobody's ever really complained about that. Most people just rip it out and put hardwood, put laminate floor in, to tell you the truth. I will say this, I took my carpeting out, although my house was a little older, I had lived in it like 3 or 4 or 5 years, but the carpeting it was awful. I mean, we had to stretch 3 times. The more you stretch it, the more wrinkled it would get. It was like, it was really bad. And when I built my house, because when I bought it, when we built it, you were allowed to pick out everything that went in that house. We paid for the most expensive padding, the most expensive carpeting you put down. That was a bunch of junk, to be honest with you.
I've had people that have said, we paid for the top of the line carpet, and didn't,
I've been there, done that. I know exactly, and I just got tired of fighting with them, and that's what happens. Okay, I got to tell you that. I believe next month we're going to have a big article in the POA, in the bulletin, about home warranty. Home warranty's got a pet phrase. You call them and they say, well, your house is under warranty for a year. Wait until the 11th month to call, okay? And report everything at one time. And what happens is, this is something else you should really inform your new buyers of. they wait until the 11th month, they come and fix, they come and temporarily fix, because they don't do it right, a problem, okay? 30 days later, you're out of warranty. When it reoccurs, they say, I'm sorry, your warranty's up. That's happened to about 500 people that it cracks in their lanai. You should be telling these people, when you have an issue in your house and it's new and you just bought it, it's still under warranty, come and fix it today, now. Don't wait, okay? The other thing I'm trying to get is I can't believe that if you have a car and something goes wrong in your car and they fix it, if the same thing goes wrong, they keep fixing it until, not here with home warranty. You could have something wrong with your house, same thing could break 2 weeks later. If you're out of warranty, they don't want to touch it. Well, I think that's absolutely ridiculous.
I've been selling here for 17 years and sold for the developer for 9. This is something I have seen over and over and over again. And it can be the windows. There can be windows in that house that those people have never opened up. And when we sell it as a pre-owned home, when they go to open them, they don't work. You know, this is something I have seen constantly with the springs not hooked up, the weights not working. I mean,
Well, think about it. Most people in the villages don't open their windows because it's hot. So, and then you go in the winter and it's cold, so you don't open them. So you really don't open your windows.
They never know that there's a problem with them. You know, and it should have been.
You know, there's two things I do religiously in my house, and I was in construction. And one is open the windows at least once a month, every window in the house. And you guys are all going to laugh when I say this, but the other thing I do is I go out in the garage and I take my panel and I shut off every one of my breakers and turn it back on one at a time. And you're all sitting there looking kind of puzzled. The reason you do that is breakers will freeze, and if they freeze in the on position, then they can't trip, and if they can't trip, then they're not going to, and you have a short, it's going to start a fire, okay? I tell people this all the time, and they look at me like I'm nuts. It works. I just fixed one on a friend of mine's house that lives around the corner from me, and when I took a panel cover off, the wire end was bare that far back off of the breaker already because it was heating up and starting to melt, and that's exactly what happens. That's how fires start. It takes 2 seconds, and today, clocks and all your electronic gadgets, all that backup, when you flip that breaker momentarily, you're not going to have to reset anything. It used to be that every time you did that, you'd have to reset everything. The only thing it might do is shut your computer off because it lost power, so you have to turn it back on. It's something you should do.
How often do you do it?
I do it every month, but then I'm
OCD.
kind of
Is it open?
Well, because I have seen what happened. Okay. The other thing I got to tell you guys, and this has nothing to do with selling houses, but electric golf carts, which hopefully will go away someday, electric golf carts.
Oh, golf carts.
Are, as far as I'm concerned, the biggest disaster that lives here. There have been more fire. I was North Area Commander for CERT, which is Community Emergency Response Team, for 9 years. Okay, dealt with the fire department for 9 years. North of 466 was my responsibility. I can't tell you how many electric golf cart chargers have started fires in the villages, and you'll never see it in the paper. And I know it for a fact. They're really dangerous. When they get old and the chargers don't work right, they're not going to shut themselves off, and what they do is they just get hot, and once they get hot, you can't even grab the wire. So there's lots of issues here that the Happy Paper, I like to call it, the Daily Sun, will not report on. And thank God for the Villages.news, because at least when they started putting some of that stuff on, the Daily Sun had to put some things in the paper. But when I first moved there was never anything negative in the paper, ever. Of course, you'll never see the POA in the Daily Sun either, so they don't like us. Anything else? Yes, ma'am.
I want to thank the POA for them getting our money back because of the overcharge when we purchased our house originally, because we paid the bond in full the day we bought the house.
They were recalculating the money.
Yes.
They were doing it wrong.
Yes.
Thank
But
you.
I want to thank the POA
Thank you.
because without you, we wouldn't
Well,
have gotten it.
and the POA also got the siding replaced on 3,300 homes free of
Right.
charge from from people that had siding put on their house wrong. We also got roofs replaced by
Yes,
Owens
right.
Corning when they were wrong. That was all the POA, okay? So when there's a major issue, I know I get lots of phone calls, and somebody says, I got this problem, and it's a problem that affects one person. Well, it's kind of hard for our group, our organization, the POA, to help one person. We try, I'll make phone calls and try, but it's not like when it's a community-wide problem, like siding or roofing or crackling eyes, that we'll go to bat for some, where it's gonna affect a lot of people. If there's a major issue, I guarantee you, we're gonna be right there. We're gonna do what we have to do to try and protect the residents. We all worked hard all our lives, saved our money and moved to this great place. I don't want my money all to disappear, so I have to move out of here. So that's one of the reasons why we're gonna do it. And I want to invite any of you to want to come to one of our meetings and sit in the back and pass out literature. You're more than welcome. And Glenn knows he can come anytime he wants to make a little 5-minute speech. And I am going to get him back again for a speaker because he did such a good job the last time. So, no more questions?
Cliff, two things. For membership forms, if you can have somebody drop off some so we can have those.
I will.
I think that'd be helpful. And then the next thing is for the people that do want to attend the POA meetings and want to hand out stuff, how do they connect with you?
I will give you my phone number, not the POA phone number, my home phone number, okay, or my cell phone.
Okay.
Call me, I just need to know that how many are coming, blah, 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 and make sure that I got room, because there's 3 groups that are there all the time, Seniors versus Crime, the Lightning Guys, and District Gov, okay? And those 3 tables are taken, and then other people want to come. We only let people that advertise in our bulletin even come and do that, okay? That's one of the perks that they get. Some of them take advantage of it more than others. You guys are more than willing to, I'm more than willing to have you. I just need to know to make sure we have room for you, because I would hate not to have room, but I'll give you.
Do you want to give them the number now? You can do that.
Yeah, it is. It's 250-2073.
Can I ask you a question about
Sure.
the paper itself? How do you pick your articles to write? How is your
Well, I will tell you that the person who was president before me, who Glenn knows very well, Elaine Dryden, used to do the bulletin also. Way too much work for me. So when I became president, I went out and hired an editor. So we have somebody that we pay a lot of money to do this. She does a great job.
How do you get in touch with her?
You can call me and I can give me your number and I will have her call you.
Okay.
I try not to give her number out because what happens is then she gets overwhelmed. And to write the bulletin, she has to go to about 60 meetings a month because she goes to all the district meetings, she goes to the AAC meetings, she goes to PWAC, she goes to all, because she wants, one thing, I will tell you this, one thing, and Janet Tutz said this the other day in a public forum, which surprised the hell out of me. We have never put anything that is not true in the POA bulletin. The information that's in that paper is true to the best of our ability. We do a lot of work and take pride, not like anybody else that just writes stuff. So if you read it there, that's you can take that to the bank. So it's really important. So she's got to make sure that her job takes up a lot of time. So I try to keep the phone calls from her away. But we will definitely just call me and I will.
The situation is that there's a ceremony that happens every year. And every year it's always in the paper the day after the ceremony. No matter how many times the son is called and said, this is the time, this is what's happening, they always do it the day after. So the community is not finding out about this ceremony in time to be able to go to it.
What is that?
It's the 9/11 ceremony that happens at St. Mark's.
Yeah.
Every year it's in the paper the day after, and everybody always says, I didn't know it.
If you call me and give me 2 months before, because you got because you got to understand that our bulletin, we have a time delay. Our bulletin's published in Ocala and then delivered to Leesburg and folded and put in the little bags that we deliver, and that's where the people that deliver pick it up. So we have, like, our bulletin it came out today, first day, but it went to press a week and a half ago. So we have that time delay. So in order for her to get it in there, you gotta give me 2 months, and it'll be the month before.
Okay, so it's too late for this September, is that what you're saying?
No, if you call, see me afterwards, and no, we'll try and get it in, because she's still working on September.
Okay.
Because I was with her last night, so I know.
All right, thank you.
Okay? And my wife belongs to St. Mark, so I'd be more than happy to see
Oh,
what they got
great.
in there.
Round of applause for Cliff.
Thank you, guys.
Well done. Thank you. Appreciate that, Cliff.
Anytime, like I said, you gotta have a working relationship, because you have the same problem I have. No, I'm.
We're in the same, that's the same thing, sure.
Exactly,
Sure.
it is. And if, I should have told you, if any of you guys ever run across a problem that you need help with, feel free to get in touch with me, okay? I mean, that bullet has got the POA number in it, it's got the website.